There is a question that humanity has been asking itself for thousands of years, and to this day, no one has answered it. Are we alone in this universe? When you look up at the night sky and stare into those billions of flickering stars, a simple yet deeply unsettling thought crosses your mind. If this planet, this one small rock floating through space, can be home to over 7 billion people, then somewhere out there, orbiting one of those distant stars, couldn't there be another world? And if that world exists, are they more advanced than us? Have they been watching us for centuries? Today, we are going deep into the greatest unsolved mystery in the history of the United States of America, the birth of the UFO, the night Roswell changed everything, the dark secrets of Area 51, and the jaw-dropping revelations that have shaken the entire world. This is the story the government never wanted you to know. This curiosity is nothing new. For thousands of years, civilizations across the globe have believed one thing, that beyond this Earth, something else exists, something alive. The ancient Sumerians, one of the oldest known civilizations on Earth, wrote about beings called the Anunnaki, gods, who descended from the sky and walked among men. Nearly 2,000 years ago, the Greek writer Lucian described a story where a group of travelers were swept up by a massive whirlwind and carried all the way to the moon. There, they encountered winged horses and giant creatures unlike anything on Earth. A 1,000-year-old Japanese folktale speaks of a mysterious girl who descended from the moon and lived among humans before returning to the stars. Different civilizations, different languages, different centuries, and yet, every single one of them believed the same thing. We are not alone. Then came the 19th century. In 1870, Italian astronomer Giovanni Schiaparelli peered through his telescope at the planet Mars, and what he saw ignited the world's imagination. He observed what appeared to be long, straight lines across the surface, lines that looked like canals. And just like that, people began to talk. They said Mars was home to 9-foot-tall beings, that there were civilizations up there, that they were far more intelligent than us. But the real spark, the moment that changed everything, came in the summer of 1947. June 24th, 1947. Over the state of Washington, a private pilot and businessman named Kenneth Arnold was flying his small plane near Mount Rainier. A routine flight, clear skies, nothing unusual. And then he saw them. 9 brilliantly glowing objects, flying in tight V formation, moving at speeds his instruments could barely track. He checked his calculations. Nearly 1,200 miles per hour. That was double the speed of the fastest aircraft of that era. When reporters asked him how these objects moved, Arnold said, "They moved like a saucer would if you skipped it across water." Now, Arnold was describing how they moved, not what they looked like. But the newspapers got it wrong. And the very next morning, headlines across America read, "Flying saucers." And with those 2 words, a brand new mythology was born. But the real storm was still coming. Just 2 weeks later, in a small, quiet desert town in New Mexico, something fell from the sky that would change American history forever. Roswell, New Mexico, a small, quiet town. Nothing remarkable, nothing unusual, until the summer of 1947. One morning, a rancher named W.W. Brazel walked out onto his property and found something he could not explain. Shiny, metallic fragments, rubber-like strips, and material that he had never seen in his entire life. He reported it to the local sheriff, and within hours, the United States military arrived. The entire area was cordoned off. Locals were pushed back. Armed soldiers stood guard. And then, newspapers around the world ran a headline that stopped the planet cold. U.S. military recovers flying disc. All of America held its breath. But then, just 24 hours later, the U.S. government reversed its statement completely. They said that was not a UFO. It was a weather balloon, nothing more. But it was too late, because once an idea takes root in the public mind, it doesn't just disappear. After Roswell, UFO sightings exploded across America. People reported glowing lights in the sky, fast-moving objects with no wings, no sound, and some claimed they had seen the beings inside. Now, here is something critically important to understand. This was the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union were locked in the most dangerous game of chess the world had ever seen. Both sides were spying on each other, building secret weapons, testing aircraft that had never been seen in public. So when people spotted strange things in the sky, their minds went straight to one place. That must be an alien spacecraft. When the reality was, it was usually a classified American or Soviet device, high-altitude spy balloons flying at night, stealth aircraft being tested in secret, radar jamming technology. In fact, in 1994, the US Air Force finally admitted the truth. The object that crashed at Roswell was part of something called Project Mogul, a top-secret balloon program designed to spy on Soviet nuclear tests from the stratosphere. If they had told the public that, the whole world would have known America was conducting covert surveillance, so they stayed silent. And that silence became the fuel for every conspiracy theory that followed. But silence wasn't their only response. The government also decided to investigate. The United States Air Force launched a series of programs to investigate UFO reports. First came Project Sign, then Project Grusch, and finally, the big one, Project Blue Book. From 1952 to 1969, over 13,000 UFO cases were investigated. Most of them had explanations: weather balloons, spy aircraft, satellites, people mistaking planets and stars for unknown objects. But then, there were the others, 701 cases that the United States military could not explain, officially labeled unexplained. And around this same time, a story came out of New Hampshire that gripped the entire nation. A couple, Betty and Barney Hill, claimed they had been abducted by aliens. They described being taken aboard a craft, examined by non-human beings, and returned to Earth with missing time. Their account became so widely known, it was eventually turned into a full-length documentary. Believe it or not, the UFO phenomenon was growing larger by the day. Deep in the Nevada desert, roughly 83 miles northwest of Las Vegas, sits a place that the United States government denied even existed for decades. A place where you cannot go, where drones are prohibited, where photography is forbidden, where signs on the perimeter read, "Restricted Area, U.S. Air Force Installation, Use of Deadly Force Authorized." This is Area 51, the most secretive military installation on the face of the Earth. Declassified satellite imagery shows a long airstrip, several large buildings, and an area spanning nearly 2,900 square miles. But what happens in those underground tunnels beneath the Nevada mountains? That remains classified. Here is what we do know. From the 1950s through the 1990s, the United States tested its most advanced secret aircraft right here, the U-2 spy plane, the SR-71 Blackbird, aircraft that flew so high that at night they looked exactly like a UFO to anyone watching from the ground. People would look up and have absolutely no idea what they were seeing. In 2013, the CIA officially acknowledged that Area 51 exists for the very first time, and former President Barack Obama became the first sitting US president to say its name in public. The world went silent. Then came a man named Bob Lazar. Appearing on Joe Rogan's podcast alongside filmmaker Jeremy Corbell, Lazar claimed that he personally worked inside Area 51, in a classified section known as S4, and that he had witnessed reverse engineering being performed on alien spacecraft. He said the crafts were powered by a mysterious element, Element 115, capable of generating a gravitational field that defied the known laws of physics. Now, Lazar was there to promote a documentary, and not a single one of his claims has ever been independently verified. But the story spread like wildfire. Then, in 2019, things got truly wild. A 20-year-old named Maddie Roberts created a Facebook event called Storm Area 51. They can't stop all of us. Over 2 million people signed up. People joke that even if the aliens killed them, at least they'd finally know the truth. The event never happened. The government shut it down. But it proved one thing without any doubt. The world believed something was being hidden inside those walls. The year 2004, over the Pacific Ocean, Navy pilots aboard the USS Nimitz aircraft carrier were conducting a routine training exercise. And then, their radar showed something strange. They moved in for a closer look. What they saw defied explanation. An object shaped like a giant tic tac. No wings, no exhaust, no sound whatsoever. But its speed, its movement, was shattering every known law of physics. It would accelerate from a dead stop to thousands of miles per hour in an instant, then vanish from radar entirely, then reappear miles away in seconds. This encounter rattled the Pentagon itself. Then came December 2017. The New York Times dropped a bombshell. The Pentagon had been secretly running a UFO investigation program called the AATIP, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. And for the first time in history, the world saw the official government footage. 3 videos. FLIR, gimbal, go fast. US fighter jets chasing objects that moved in ways no known aircraft could. UFOs were no longer a conspiracy theory, because the United States government itself had now officially confirmed that military pilots had encountered objects they could not identify. The year 2023, at a classified location somewhere in the United States, federal agents were carrying out a standard mission when they looked up at the sky and saw something that stopped them cold. A massive, glowing, orange orb, hovering completely motionless in the air. And then, from within that orb, smaller, red glowing objects began to emerge, one by one, as if a mothership was launching smaller craft from inside itself. Within seconds, the object vanished. But the next day, a second team reported seeing the exact same thing, and the day after that, a third team reported it too. In 2025, a senior intelligence officer traveled to that same location by helicopter. He saw the orb as well, but as the helicopter moved toward it, the object instantly relocated, 20 miles away, in the blink of an eye. The helicopter couldn't even begin to give chase. This encounter lasted 35 minutes. If this story had come from a random civilian, people would have laughed it off. But these were United States federal officers. And then, former intelligence officer David Grusch appeared before the United States Congress and made one of the most explosive claims in the history of American government. He said, under oath, that the United States is in possession of non-human spacecraft, and that secret reverse engineering programs have been running for decades. NASA acknowledged that many UFO cases remain unexplained, but said direct evidence of alien life had not been confirmed. The Pentagon said the same. Alien technology had not been proven, but they also admitted that dozens of military encounters remain unexplained. And then, Donald Trump issued an order that sent shockwaves around the world. He directed his Department of Defense to declassify and release all classified files related to aliens, extraterrestrial life, and unidentified aerial phenomena. But why now? Here's what actually happened. Former President Barack Obama appeared on a popular podcast and casually dropped this line. Yeah, the aliens are real. I don't know where they keep them, but they're real. Trump was not about to let Obama take credit for the biggest disclosure in human history, so he announced he'd release everything. And in this same climate of disclosure, a name from the past resurfaced: Boyd Bushman, a senior research engineer at Lockheed Martin, one of the most powerful defense contractors in the world. In 2007, Bushman gave an interview. It went largely unnoticed, until his death in 2014, when the video surfaced on YouTube and went viral. People called it his deathbed confession. Bushman claimed that inside Area 51, there were 2 distinct groups of alien beings: the Wranglers and the Rustlers. He said they came from a planet called Quintumnia, 48 light-years from Earth, and that they could make the trip in just 45 minutes. He even showed photographs, which were later proven to be edited. NASA never verified his claims. The Pentagon never verified his claims. But stories like these keep adding layers to a mystery that refuses to die. Now, people often ask, why does this always happen in America? What about everywhere else? Great question. Because this is not just America's story. In 2021, China officially announced it would use artificial intelligence to search for alien life. By 2022, they activated FAST, the largest radio telescope ever built on Earth, dedicated entirely to this mission. By the end of that year, they acknowledged no signal had been detected, yet. France established an official government committee to investigate unidentified aerial phenomena. Russia publicly acknowledged that UFOs are real. Unexplained aerial objects have been reported in countries across South Asia, the Middle East, and Latin America. In Mexico, in 2018, mass UFO sightings were reported. Germany, Japan, Iraq, Syria, reports have come in from every corner of this planet. So why does America dominate the conversation? Simple. America has the most advanced technology on Earth, the largest intelligence apparatus ever assembled, and visionaries like Elon Musk, who literally want to colonize Mars. The more you look for something, the more you find. The more you find, the more the world pays attention. So, what are these things? Let's look at what the experts actually say. Some believe these are classified American military technologies, craft so advanced, the government refuses to acknowledge their existence. Others argue they are Chinese or Russian spy drones, hypersonic surveillance vehicles that have penetrated American airspace undetected. Some scientists maintain that many sightings can be explained by camera artifacts, radar malfunctions, atmospheric optical illusions, or completely natural phenomena. And then, there are those who believe something far more extraordinary, that we are not alone in this universe, that we have never been alone. But here is the question that haunts the entire debate. If this is all just illusion and error, why did the US government keep UFO files classified for decades? If these were just weather balloons, why did the Pentagon run a secret investigation program? And if no alien craft has ever visited this planet, why are active-duty military pilots still filing reports of objects that cannot be explained? Nobody has those answers, not yet. Maybe UFOs are simply the next generation of classified technology. Maybe they represent a natural phenomenon that human science has yet to understand. Or maybe we truly are not alone in this universe. But one thing is certain, until a government, a scientist, or an institution comes forward with documented, verified, undeniable proof, America's UFO mystery will remain the greatest unanswered question in the history of the world. And the day is coming when Trump's declassification order forces those files into the open, and perhaps, for the very first time in human history, we will finally know the answer to the question that has haunted us since the beginning of time. Are we truly alone or not?
If this video moved you, please give it a like and share it with someone who needs to know this history. Drop a comment below. How did this video make you feel? And don't forget to subscribe, because stories like this one will keep coming.